78 laps, the Clipsal 500, round 2 of the Shell Championship Series. We've got 38 cars on the grid for this encounter today. We've heard in the lead-up just how tough it is. So much drama yesterday, so many incidents, controversial incidents, people talking well into the night about what's right and wrong in motorsport, and there's the man who led them at the end of 78 laps with some great driving and a terrific strategy, but dogged all the way by Stephen Johnson, and some scores to settle. Mark Skaife struggling back into 4th position on the grid after leading and being barreled off by Paul Radisich. It was an extraordinary battle, Mark. Yeah, and we hear from the pits that the ambient temperature is getting up into the high 20s, track temperature over 30 degrees. And guarantee that the internal temperatures in these cars will be approaching 50 plus by the time these things get underway. So you thought yesterday's race was tough. 250 k's is a big ask when you come straight out of the box. Keep in mind these blokes have got to turn around and do it again with only a few hours rest.
Yeah, Mark, I've just come up from off the grid. It's so hot down there. It's quite incredible. Well, this morning when we arrived at the circuit, it was actually quite chilly. There was a lot of talk about the potential for showers and rain today. It's gone away.
And the key thing to remember, you hear these drivers quite often talking about yesterday's race being a 78-lap qualifier. What they mean by that is it's double points today. 180 points yesterday determined the finishing order from yesterday's race, determined the starting order for today. It's 360 points up for the winner. So today is payday.
And here's how they'll line up. It's Craig Lowndes from pole position in the Ford. Alongside him, Stephen Johnson. Then Russell Ingall, the first of the Holdens, alongside him from Holden Racing Team. Points leader Mark Skaife. Then Stephen Ellery, terrific job to get into the top 5. Garth Tander, a tough day at the office. Jason Bright in the wars in the remaining laps yesterday.
Good fight back from John Bowe as well. Jason Bargwanna, we just spoke to him earlier. He sneaked inside the top 10. Great effort too from Dean Canto, the Konica champion. He's doing well on the streets of Adelaide. Larkham, Faulkner got caught up with that terrible incident with the hose yesterday. Fortunately, everyone got away relatively unscathed. Stephen Richards rounds out the top 16.
Larry Perkins, quiet day for him. Anthony Tratt involved in that melee at turn 4 on the opening lap. Dougal McDougal, Tyler Mecklem, Trevor Ashby, Angus Fogg, Greg Ritter and Ross Halliday, 24.
Unbelievable atmosphere here as the crowd really rev it up. We're only moments away from the start of the formation lap. Brad Jones, Paul Will, Paul Radisich. Look where the Rat starts now. 29th, had a brilliant start to the race yesterday, had enormous race speed, but ended up trashing the car toward the end. He retired early.
Rodney Forbes with brake problems yesterday, and then a gearbox selection drama late in the race. Gary Holt, Alan Heath, Marcus Ambrose. Remember that incident on pit lane, or against the pit lane wall. Watch for him in this race. He'll be coming out of 36. You've got people like Seaton, Radisich, Murphy and Ambrose at the back of the pack. There's Alan Heath. He'll be coming out of pit lane. Won't be taking his spot on the grid. Set for a start. The Clipsal 500 is go. Craig Lowndes makes a blinder. Skaife goes up on the outside of Radisich. Thunder towards the first chicane. Lowndes, Skaife, straight across the chicane. So does Ingall. Ellery goes berserk across there as well, as they head up to this crucial braking area at Wakefield Street.
Gee, I was surprised that Lowndes got away so well. He had a real lot of smoke pouring out of those rear tyres. He really got the power down, but he must have got good bite because he managed to beat the rest of them into that turn 1.
Oh, that's brilliant. I mean, to get that amount of lead in the first half a minute of the race is brilliant.
This is going to be the interesting thing, these opening laps. We've seen Craig Lowndes do it before, particularly on cold tyres. He's brilliant on the cold rubber, and if he can open up a bit of a buffer now, he's going to try and do it. Big field here as they thunder down Bartels Road for the first time.
Remember, it was Skaife that was quick on cold rubber at Phillip Island. Look at this between Tander and Ingall battling for position into turn 9. Appears to have been a cleaner start to events compared to yesterday's race. Tander on the menacing run down the inside.
Oh, there's Ellery.
Bang into the back of Tander, turns him around.
Oh,
nose to tail. Bow goes in, Larkham goes in, Dean Canto's in there.
I think Rodney Forbes is another car in there too.
Glenn, yeah. Oh, dear.
Larko's got a lot of damage.
No,
Bow's got a lot of damage. He's out of business.
We saw Enferenders here yesterday.
Well, that was never on.
Stephen Ellery just came from a mile back.
Never on.
And he's paid the penalty. Oh, we've got problems here for Jason Bright. He must have got caught up in that tangle as well. He's got smoke belching from the left front tyre and body damage as well as he swings it into the Holden Racing Team.
So it's going to be guard repair, front splitter off and replaced, and hopefully no geometry damage to the front suspension, but that's going to cost time. Expect that to be a good minute or more.
That's correct.
The racing team working feverishly away. They've got the slide hammer there. It's a large weight on a pole. They slide that back and it helps drag the sheet metal away from the damaged tyre.
They're opting to leave the fiberglass in play. Well, no, they're not. They're ripping some of it out of the way.
Look at this. I mean,
Boof.
I don't know whether there was a coming together between him and between Ellery and Bargs, maybe. It's slightly.
You need to see it again from earlier on. Great presence of mind from Bargwanna there at one stage. I just saw him jump out of the way. It could have been a worse situation for him.
Have a look. No.
Watch see Jason Bright sneak around on the inside here. This is where he did the damage to that left there. Just when he went over the curve there, that damage to his left wheel.
Just watch this, guys. Ellery down the inside. Dirty track, hard to pull up. Bang, tags. It's pretty straightforward.
Now watch Bright. Oh, you can't see him. He goes under the tree there, but that's where he clipped his left front wheel and did all the damage to the car.
Look at that lead.
So Lowndes really putting the pressure on straight away. 1.7 seconds was the gap.
He's gone.
Let's see what it's this time as he comes across. He's probably pumped it out a little bit more. 2.6 seconds now. So Lowndes, as we've seen so many times, when he gets a clear bit of track in front of him, he is absolutely dynamite. Mark Skaife in second, Stephen Johnson in third, Russell Ingall in the Castrol Commodore. Big challenge by Johnson on the inside. Skaife gives him racing room.
Skaife would be a little bit concerned when he sees a Shell car come up the inside into Wakefield Street. You'd be like, well, okay, you take it.
That was good from Stephen, though, wasn't it? Really,
excellent move. He had good car speed out of the chicane. Actually, Skaife under attack now from Russell Ingall.
Oh, now Skaife's giving him room as well. Skaife knows. Now he's using his head here. He's looking at this situation and saying, well, I don't want to get involved in this. Everyone's all pumped up. So going to give him a little bit of racing room and let the race settle down because we've got a long, long way to go. And we've got a safety car on the track.
Full course yellow. Now, this is the situation that Lowndes, for example, is going to hate. He's used a lot of car to make that margin into the brakes, working the tyres. Now you lose all that, and it's all gone for nothing.
You have to say in a situation like this, the race, the nature of the race, you think, oh, look at that.
Now, Bryce, they're trying to keep him up, trying to get him up.
Keep him on the lead lap is what they want to do.
Keep him on the lead lap. Keep in mind, under these regulations with the Clipsal 500, you are not allowed to pit under safety car conditions. So what they're going to try and do is try and get Bridie as close as they can to the leading bunch before they go back to green to minimise the amount of track position he's going to lose.
Oh, look at this.
Rodney Forbes and Cameron McConville in the wall. Lap 6 of 78. What's all that about?
Could this be another safety car, I wonder?
I wouldn't mind betting.
Safety car flags are out. So we'll go back to controlled intervention of the race. This is an unusual looking position. I can't even quite work out where it is. We'll take a look at the Shell Helix replay.
Now they're battling over.
It's already happened by this stage, has it?
Yeah.
Well and truly. So that's.
Look at the left front on Forbes' thing. He's got no steering now.
Just about squeezes the Team Kiwi Commodore out.
Yeah, up at turn 5, it's the area where, for example, Glenn Seaton and Jason Bright came unglued late in yesterday's race. But that's happened just slightly prior to that. Cameron McConville out of the car. And we've marked the crash zone there for you.
We've just gone green again at the Clipsal 500, and Craig Lowndes once again trying to rebuild that margin. Stephen Johnson, Russell Ingall, Mark Skaife, Jason Bargwanna. There's your top 5.
Battle back in the pack. John Faulkner mixed in here, one of the Kmart cars. Tony Longhurst is doing an outstanding job. Paul Morris mixed into this battle as well. All around the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th.
Larry in 8th.
There's been some outstanding performances in these opening laps, though. Murphy, after that drama yesterday, he started 30th. He's up to 14th. Radicic went right back to 29th after retiring the car yesterday. He's up to 16th. Ambrose has done a big charge too, 36th to 23rd. So a couple of those guys have really got to move on. Trevor Ashby's doing a good job too, the veteran, surviving Lansvale car. He's in 17th, so comfortably inside the top 20.
Race score shows you the order. Lowndes, Johnson, Ingall, Skaife, Bargwanna, Richards, Perkins, Morris, Kelly and Longhurst.
There goes the Murph on the charge.
Passes Dougal McDougall.
He's really got plenty of speed aboard that Kmart car. So now they're working their way back up the race trim, but Gartana hasn't got off to a good start. Problems here for Brad Jones.
Some sort of collapse of the rear suspension on the car. It might be a repeat of what we saw with Paul Radicic's car yesterday. If you break a Watts link bolt in these things, it'll drop the rear end out of them. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, whatever it is, it's got him.
I don't think many people would have suspected to see the Jones brothers operation having such a difficult introduction to V8 supercar. They've been very successful in every category of racing that they've entered. But since they've gotten a V8 supercar, it's been a very tough exercise.
Lowndes, the fastest lap again.
The Aussie male car had a broken throttle cable yesterday which sidelined it, and now some kind of rear suspension failure.
Well, I suppose it's one better than ending up on your roof, really.
Probably a bit cheaper. 26.4, that fast lap by Lowndes, still a couple of tenths quicker than Stephen Johnson.
Just had a word to Graham Jenkins and some of the boys down here. This one has got them puzzled. They are not sure what has caused this. It may be a problem in the with a leakage in the rear. And in fact, the rear suspension, if we can get in here and have a closer look, the suspension has actually come completely away. We'll try and get you a closer shot of that. There you are. And that's what's caused the Aussie male Ford to limp around this circuit here in Adelaide.
There's our second place man, Stephen Johnson. There's the margin, 3 seconds, 3.2 seconds to Craig. Interesting that Bradley broke a shock top. That's an unusual thing to have fail around here. Some of those are actually machined by the team, so I'd be curious to know where that bit came from and who made it and why it failed.
Fantastic drive by Stephen Johnson this weekend. In fact, he's had a very mature approach to this race, just 26 years of age and son of a touring car legend. A lot of pressure on his shoulders, a lot of expectation. He didn't deliver last year, but he looks like he's come out of the box much faster in 2001.
Radicic looking aggressive again. He's got better mid-corner speed than Murph. It's almost reminiscent of yesterday's battle. Remember when Greg's car was just getting a little nervous in the rear? Great battle.
This is the battle for 9th position between Greg Murphy and Paul Radicic. They're battling just to stay inside the top 10. And they've come from a long, long, long way back after dramas yesterday.
Problem for Paul Morris. Dean Canto rounding him up, and if you recall, Paul was much closer to the top of the tree, so he's dropping down the order for some obscure reason.
Had a word to Paul Sepranich at Big Kev Racing. He tells me there's a bit of concern for the Big Kev racer. It is losing fuel and they don't know why. The drivers who were behind him a couple of laps ago, both Faulkner and a few others, had radioed that the car was losing fuel. So Morris is bringing the car in now. Paul Sepranich has also had a word to Dean Orr and the team at Four Wheel Racing because they're worried about the prospect of possible fire here, and both cars are coming in at the same time. So we'll watch this one closely.
Sometimes what happens, Greg, is the sprung-loaded seal in these dry brake systems doesn't actually, there's like a little valve on them and they don't seal flat. You've got poor wheel tucked in behind there. It's an awkward situation when two cars are so close nose to tail, and fuel just continues to spray out either the vent side or the filler side. But by virtue of the fact that they're looking in the boot of the car means that perhaps one of the clips has actually come off the bag. Use big hose clips on the fuel ducts that go into the top of the fuel bladder. What can you see there?
Well, Paul Morris has actually just been dragged out of the car, guys. We'll try and get some shots of this for you. He's not looking too well, so obviously the fuel fumes have overcome Paul from the back of this car. He went to get out of the car when it pulled in. I don't know if we can see this here, but he's actually collapsed. He tried to get out of the car straight away and really struggled to do so. And he fell as soon as he put his foot down on the ground. He collapsed. The team are here. But there's a lot of fuel. You can smell the fuel in the boot of this car.
2.8 seconds the gap now between Lowndes and Johnson. So Johnson just chipping away at Lowndes. 27.10 for the race leader, 26.94. So there's only a couple of tenths in it. Those two just slogging it out. The 2 or 3 second bump for this. Oh no!
Dean Canto, one of the Valvoline cars. I think it's Tander's 34. It is.
Yep. Gee.
Bad goes to worse for Garth.
Isn't it amazing how your luck can turn around? This man was on pole position here last year, had great race speed, ended up on the podium at the end of the day.
What happened?
Things
there?
looking different in 2001.
Wright continues his march forward. He's in 16th. 15th now as a result of that shunt in the final turn.
Ambrose up to 13.
Well, that's a great effort from Jason Bright. He dropped down as low as 36th after that altercation on the first lap. The Holden Racing team working very quickly to repair that panel work damage, put a new tyre on and get him back into action. You can see the scars there. Let's have a look at this incident a little earlier on. Let's see what happened here with Canto and Tander. Oh. Just a little kiss.
Not quite sure why Garth would be stuck there in that position on the track, though. Look at this. see that Ambrose is in there as well. He's very close. I said before, he's moved up to 10th. What the safety car does is revitalise battles, and look at this battle here. Down the inside of Larry Perkins goes Greg Murphy. Radisich buys into the battle. We'll rub a bit of paint here. Don't want to be on the outside for the next left-hander as you come into 11.
A little bit of, what would you call that?
I'd call that make your own arrangements, mate.
I just don't think Paul likes the shape of the standard XR8 nose cone.
He's off. Gone into the wall.
Having a bit of a laugh about that, but that's actually caused a lot of damage to Radisich. I don't know whether he cut a tyre or damaged his steering, but he's just gone straight off.
He gathers his thoughts up. We all know the words. Frustration. The car jumps out of reverse. It's a Grange dog box in these things. No synchro. They're not easy to get in reverse. Got to pick the lever up, and no, you can't drag it out of the tyre wall. He's hung out to dry on the wide part of the circuit. Larry's got him up on the ripple strip, and he makes contact. There's where the damage is done.
Left.
I wonder if he's broken his steering or cut a front tyre. Let's have a look at this from the outside. Maybe we can get some more information from this.
The car just doesn't turn.
Oh, steering. Look, it's dead straight, isn't it? Steering arm or something.
And now we're back with Craig Lowndes coming into the pits for the second time in as many laps. So once this is completed, he will have done both fuel and tyres in 2 laps. Strategically, not such a great move at this stage because, as I mentioned earlier, Jason Bright out there got away his 2 stops, even though he had some mechanical problems. And he's in pretty good track position, 4th at the moment behind Greg Murphy, Stephen Richards and Tyler Mecklin, would you believe? He's up there in car 50, but of course yet to make a stop. Lowndes, a hairy moment as he rejoins the race. Scape, I think, getting away his 2nd stop by the look of it. It is. So both the HRT cars now had their 2nd stops. They can run all the way to the finish line, and that is your track position at the moment at the bottom of your screen. And they go.
Whoa! Whack!
They were jumping the curves, and Canto was a...
Dean Canto, goodness me.
Wow, that was a hard impact.
What a shunt.
How many shunts at that corner is it going to take for someone to actually change the racetrack there? How many times?
Safety car is on the track as a result.
He's backed it up into that wall and hit it very hard, and the wall is positioned at 90 degrees to the direction of the cars there, which makes it lethal.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. We'll get back to that replay in a second. Here it is.
There you go. Now
Something's triggered that.
Driver's side. Watch. That's right. Whack. Right on the driver's side.
So the order at the moment, let's just settle this down. Jason Bright now is not only the nominal race leader, he is the race leader on the track. He's in 1st place. Mark Scape is 2nd. Glenn Seaton, Russell Ingall, Todd Kelly, they're still to make their 2nd stops. They're in the sandwich between Mark Scape and Marcus Ambrose. Ambrose now in 6th, and Craig Lowndes is in 9th. Stephen Johnson, I think, has made 2 stops as well.
Yeah, I think all these leading guys now, I'm just checking my notes, but I'm sure that all of these key guys have now got it out of the way. So we're into a clean race to the flag. Lap 46 of 78.
Still a long way to go there.
Absolutely, it really is. So that is the order now. The leaders, after this length of race, these guys have made 2 stops. Jason Bright, the race leader. Mark Scape's made 2 stops. Seaton's made 2 stops. Ingall has made 2 stops. Ambrose, Stephen Johnson and Craig Lowndes, they've all made 2 stoppers. So now they can have a clean run to the flag. This is going to be a battle. A real battle of race speed now. Who's in the best condition in terms of tyre wear? Who's got the best setup?
And see Mark just rubbing his eyes there. It's because the guys sweat so much under the helmets, and it pours into your eyes all the time. They end up so inflamed, and it's so uncomfortable, and there's no way of getting out because you're just so hot. It just pours in constantly.
Mark had to work very hard at getting his endurance ergonomics better. The first time in the Adelaide 500, he had chronic back pain. He really was in trouble. It ended up causing him to crash the car out of the event.
He tends to use a different brake master cylinder size to some of the guys, so he has a slightly softer brake pedal because of the difficulty that he has experienced sometimes with his lower back. He makes it work for him. We've seen some demon qualifying laps, and he's fine now in terms of his endurance form, but it knocked him around that year in '99.
Looking at those dials and gauges at the bottom of your screen, if you've never seen this before at home, it's still telemetry from on board this Holden Racing Team Commodore. Road speed on the left of your screen, engine revolutions on the right. the middles, brake applications and gear locations. So you can see, oh, we've got problems here. Tander's still puffing out smoke. That car's got a lot of battle damage on it as Craig Lowndes tries to claw his way back toward the front. He's in 9th place at the moment in a ding-dong battle with Garth Tander. Lowndes will really be praying for a safety car here if he's going to make up that gap.
Oh, dear me.
That looks like that's going to cause a problem in the not-too-distant future. Oh, Scaife's in trouble. He's turned it around.
Spun around by the looks of it.
Now, where's that? Is that coming out of... Is that down on Bartels Road? I think that's the chicane on the back straight. Let's have a look.
He's hooked reverse.
He's found river.
That's novel.
He's going to do a flick spin somewhere here, is he?
Oh, I know where he is. He's in the braking area down the bottom of Brabham Straight. So instead of trying to do an awkward turn, I know, so it's the top.
Yep, it's coming out of that. Coming out of that.
That's very odd.
Chicane in the middle. So he's had a moment coming through there.
Get back in your rhythm, mate. Get back in your rhythm.
Robbie Starr, his chief engineer, just telling him get back into your rhythm, settle in.
Yeah, that's just beyond where Dean Canto went off.
So Scaife, the most surprising moment there for the reigning Shell Series champion.
No, mate, don't lose your patience. You're just going to have to drive with it now.
So let's see what happens here.
Launches off the inside ripple strip, and then the outside one makes sure that he finishes the exercise.
This guy could give some lessons.
No, I'm not going to let up on him, Barry. No way. No. The corner is wrong, wrong, wrong.
This guy could give some lessons in advanced driving. He's kept this car off the concrete walls in a number of moments. Really a good indication of a man keeping his cool at a very, very dicey situation. Let's have a look at him inside. He realises, oh, he's missed a gear, has he?
Yeah. He didn't quite slot it.
Yeah, that's...
See, it's the tiniest little thing, isn't it? It means he's gone in there with just a little bit too much pace. And then the curbing's just launched him off the inside, then the outside. Very lucky not to end up tagging the wall.
And you don't realise how much you rely on the gearbox to slow you down until you miss a gear, do you?
Well, Mark Scaife, hasn't he had some moments this weekend?
Wow, what's going on?
Well, there is a problem with that right rear.
Left rear.
The left rear, I should say. Yeah, we saw that earlier on.
We're actually here with the car now. Now, something has happened in the rear of this car. We'll try and show you the actual photo of the tyre here. Just get a look at it. Look at how badly damaged that tyre is. It's warped it almost. And to the front of it, you can see here. Look. There's some of the damage there. Look how badly it's eaten away into the carcass of the tyre. There's damage to the rim as well.
Yeah.
So contact of some sort there must be the cause.
Well, that was that incident that we saw earlier on. And Craig's rejoined now, and they've sorted that, but that puts him out of contention. He's battling there with Dougal McDougall. Meanwhile, Jason Bright at the top of the order has really put the hammer down in the last couple of laps. He's ripped right into the 26s.
That's interesting, because Mark Scaife is just ahead of Lowndes in this queue. Have a look at these cars. There's Dougal McDougall just up ahead of him, and you'll see the Holden Racing Team Commodore up in the front of this bunch. So Lowndes has Scaife well within his sights after making that stop. Jason Bright, meanwhile, the battle continues. Russell Ingall, 4.2 seconds in arrears of our race leader.
Here's the Russell Ingall move on Glenn Seaton. A very neatly timed job. No contact made. Snuck under the inside. Glenn wasn't too defensive about it because he sensed that Russell had so much more speed. There was no point bringing both of them undone with still a long way to go and a lot of points on offer. Sometimes it's better just to fold your cards and keep the points than try and be a hero.
Bright's got into his rhythm here. 4.3 seconds, so he sustained that gap. He's just pumped it out by 1/10 of a second over Ingall. So Jason Bright, Russell Ingall, Glenn Seaton, Todd Kelly still in fourth. Great effort by the Kmart Commodore driver.
And this is all set up from that first initial manoeuvre of Jason and his team to bring him in right at the very beginning. Remember, he was the first guy we remarked on coming in, and this is the yield from that decision.
The lessons you learn from this type of racing, Neil, it always seems to work that way. You go in early, the field has to come back to you. It happens over and over and over again. The big question is going to be, though, as we get toward the end, right down to the dying laps, is tyre condition and tyre wear. Who's going to have the freshest tyres on? Lownde's picked up a fresh one on his left rear, which may or may be of some benefit to him in a situation like that.
You'd have to say the track temperature now would have to be in the sort of late 40s, wouldn't it?
Very hot day, Baz. Very surprising. I thought the temperature was going to drop a lot on Sunday. But this Indian summer has stuck around. It's very, very hot conditions for racing. Russell Ingall looking very competitive here.
Right, Ingall, we're on board with Russell. Seaton, Kelly, Ambrose, Johnson, Perkins, Stephen Richards, Tony Longhurst inside the top 10. Good performance. And Mark Scaife 10th. And right behind Mark Scaife, Craig Lowndes.
Just 2.3 seconds behind the Holden Racing Team Commodore. So the old teammates now in rival teams and rival brands battling at the back of the top 10. It's going to be interesting to see where they end up at the end of 78 laps. 57 gone now. And if you look at the bottom of your screen, it can be right up to date on the Helix race score.
Glenn's actually been able to stay there with Russell without too much drama. So even though Ingall was able to sneak by under brakes, he's actually maintained the pace. Last lap time for Bright was at 26, 1 minute 26.9. So he's still showing margin over these guys at the rate of about on average sort of 3 to 4 tenths of a second.
Looking a bit further back. Let's have a look. There's Russell Ingall with his lights on. Glenn Seaton in third. So Jason Bright now drafted into the Holden Racing Team to replace Craig Lowndes. He had some big shoes to fill, and here is the man, and he's closing right on the back of his former teammate Mark Scaife.
Oh,
this is going to be a good battle.
A bit of interest here, folks.
Yeah, ever slightly.
Former teammates and a new lap record for Craig Lowndes. Is this guy fast or is this guy fast? He's getting some speed out of this car.
Keep in mind they've just put on that left rear tyre, and if you had to pluck a tyre out and put it on here at the moment, that's the one you'd want, because it's really dramatically going to help you drive off the corners.
That's what I was saying. When you get down to this critical stage in the race, when tyres are looking pretty second-hand, Craig Lowndes may be in a good position. He's got a nice fresh tyre on that left rear, and he goes inside Mark Scaife. No contact there. Scaife wants to argue. They're going to go side by side through Fordex. Corner. The crowd's going berserk here. Lowndes switches back on the inside.
Fantastic, wasn't it?
Everybody's wanted to see this, haven't they?
Yeah, and both professionals gave each other room then, which is fantastic to watch. You know, Craig tried to crisscross him with a wide entry and then a narrow exit. There's a little kiss. Hi, Scaife, it's me. Remember me?
The thing is about these two blokes, they're very quick, but they're also very clean. If you sort of follow their careers through, there have been the odd altercation, but fundamentally, they're blokes who like to keep their cars in one piece.
And they haven't had, you know, they've been in the sport for a long time now, and they haven't had a history of being lunatics. You know, they're basically on balance, race pretty hard with a lot of people a lot of the time.
Well, if any two drivers know each other as well, it's these two blokes. Mark Scaife in front. Craig Lowndes just ducks to the inside as Paul Radicic gives him a better room. This is a great battle.
It's a little bit like Glenn Seaton and Craig Lowndes last year, only a sort of different set of colours.
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Scaife now, just concentrate on finishing.
Oh, what's happened there?
We need to know more about that one. Just after we said these guys are capable of clean racing.
They've taken that theory and blown it out of the water.
Unbelievable situation. Scaife and Lowndes have come together on lap 60 of 78. Lowndes reversing the car back along the wall. It's out of business. It's had it.
I think he's trying to get it, so he's got it.
For the championship now, he's out of the race.
Yes.
Plenty of passion here at Supercar Racing, and Craig Lowndes is out of the Clipsal 500. I'll be interested to see a replay of that incident. I'm sure everyone in Australia will be wanting to see a replay of that. And we also talk about our viewers in New Zealand watching right across New Zealand. Dramatic moment in the Clipsal 500. Lowndes almost shaking his head in disbelief. I don't know what's happened there.
Will this bring out a safety car? Not a very good position.
Almost guarantee, I would say.
Wow. And what effect will that have, if any, on anybody else in the field there at the moment? Look out, Craig's got the thing mobile again. Just actually going to perhaps get it into a safer spot.
Yeah. No safety car on that one, is there? What did they?
Righto, what's happened? This is going to be the most significant replay of the day. Oh, I think
Craig.
Look how Lowndes went right up the side of Scaife's car.
Well, you need to see a little bit more of that one if you could. In fact, the onboard might tell a better story, and here it is. So he tries another crisscross move, goes to the inside.
Look at that. Right up in
Holy
there.
smoke.
That was a big hit.
Well,
that was a whack from Craig, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd say that at the end of the day, he's just tagged his right rear He's trying to start out wide, cut down on the inside and sneak up, but they just didn't get it done, and they touched, and then he ended up climbing over the front of the Scaife car. Massive damage to the front of the Falcon. Now, and what's the damage situation with the Scaife car? Well, look at that. She's an open wheeler.
And keep in mind, massive damage to Craig Lowndes' Shell Championship points chase. Keep in mind, this is a double points race. 360 points on offer for the race winner. And he's just thrown that all away. No chance. He's not going to get even a sniff of those. He's got 180 from winning yesterday's race. But it could have been a much bigger points haul had that altercation not happened. Now, the big question is Mark Scaife's car okay?
You reckon there'll be a bit of chat about this one later on?
How about that? Everyone was waiting for the classic battle between Lowndes and Scaife. I didn't think it was going to end up like that.
Remarkable, given that only just seconds before said, "I know these guys are capable of getting on with this forever," and it didn't eventuate that way.
So out of character, wasn't it?
Here's another replay. Shell Helix replay shows the situation as Scaife in front. Lowndes just tagged him by the look of it. Just tagged him and then climbed over the front of the thing, and that's that. Wow.
It's going to fill newspaper pages for many days to come, I'm sure. Oh, now Lowndes, what's he going to do? He's got the thing fired up. I think he's going to try and drive it back to the pits. What's going on here?
I think he's getting it out of the way.
No.
He's just getting it out of the runoff area, is he?
What's going on? Yeah,
I
he
think
definitely wants to take it right out of the action. Oh, it's got all sorts of ruptured ancillary systems there. So not looking good. Jason Bright leading this one. Russell Ingall 4.3 seconds behind. Glenn Seaton, Todd Kelly, Marcus Ambrose, Stephen Johnson, Larry Perkins and Stephen Richards.
Then it's Longhurst, Scaife limping at the moment, Faulkner, Murphy, McDougall, Ashby, Mazira, and one lap down Jason Richards from New Zealand.
Have a look at these competitors now. If you look to the right of your screen, you can see how much further they are there in the field, the one lappers, and then there's cars that are 2 and 3 laps down.
Stevie Johnson here, and Anthony Tratt it is, just behind him, spinning. Well, he must have got that back under control because I haven't seen a yellow flag out, or a full course yellow, I should say. So it looks like that's sorted. And that's good news for Jason Bright because he has a 3.5 second lead over Russell Ingall, who is on the charge. Glenn Seaton in 3rd place. Todd Kelly, Marcus Ambrose, great drive. Then Stevie Johnson, Larry Perkins, Stephen Richards, Tony Longhurst, Mark Scaife. And Mark Scaife, of course, had that incident with Craig Lowndes where he was tagged. Scaife, amazingly, is still out and circulating and looks to be handling the car okay, even though the right front guard has been peeled away. Lowndes' race is over, and Scaife's 9-point championship lead over Lowndes will expand if he can stay on the circuit. Fred Gibson must be a very frustrated man right now after a brilliant day yesterday.
Success on day 1, disappointment, Fredo, on day 2.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. It's motor racing, Greg, isn't it, really? You've got to think about how good we've been going for the short time we've been going. And right now, like we had a good day yesterday. I suppose you could say Natalie Lowndes won this morning in the celebrity race. I've had a win today. But that's motor racing, and the things we're doing much better than we thought we'd ever do. So we're disappointed, but not over the moon about sort of getting crashed out sort of thing. But the thing is, like, you know, the series is a long way to go. The car will get better. We'll get better as we get better as a team. So, like, we're looking forward to the rest of the year.
He certainly had the car speed there before the accident too, didn't he?
I suppose we had the car dialed in pretty well for the weekend, and you've got to think about it's the first time we've been here with a Ford. So to get the data and to get the car up to speed now has been a great job by the team. And I suppose also, Greg, we didn't call a very good strategy today in the race. It wasn't one of our best calls, so it was up to Craig to see what he could do to win the race. It's no good coming second. That's the first of the losers. So we were going for it, and Craig got the fast lap on the lap before he knocked out sort of thing. So that's not a bad result, really.
Keep smiling, mate.
Thanks, Greg. Thank you.
Well, at the other end of pit lane, I'm here with Jeff. Greg, the question we really want to know is, can Mark stay out there in this condition?
Well, Grant, we think so. I mean, it actually looked worse than what it is. I think when it hit, it's pushed all the sheet metal away from the tyre itself. So Mark said it's fine. So we said continue on. But we're obviously trying to go for some points.
I know we were anticipating this battle a lot watching the coverage. Were you as surprised as we were when the two came together, being old teammates?
Well yes, we were. I mean, look, after yesterday, I mean, we're on the radio. I mean, we want to conserve our championship points, and I mean, if he had waited till he got on the straight, I'm sure it would have been an easy pass for Craig. But It surprised the hell out of us, but I guess only you could ask Craig that.
Has it moved the goalpost for you this afternoon? How do you call it from here?
Sorry, can you...
How do you call the race from here now for Mark?
Well, we honestly just want to get it home. I mean, to get it home, you get some points, and it's so crucial here to get good points. I mean, we're obviously not going to win now, but, you know, the higher up we get, the more points, and then live to fight another day.
Thanks, Jeff.
Cheers.
Oh, Gibbo and Jeff Grech, they're a real couple of characters, aren't they? The bloke to watch is Ingle. Ingle's pulled a second out of Brighty in the last 2 laps, so he can sniff the victory.
And you have to consider where Jason Bright started this race.
Yeah.
Consider the dramas he had in the opening lap when that was all triggered by Steve Ellery and that drama. And, you know, you would have thought, oh, Bright is in trouble, but the strategy they pulled was clever. Here's Seaton battling for third at the moment. Kelly zeroing in, and then this battle here, it's a beauty between Ambrose and Stephen Johnson. Ambrose has got the foreshortened nose on the Pertec car. Johnson having a run down the inside. I think he might get the job done, and he does. Marcus didn't want to yield. He had to lock the brakes a little right at the very end, but Stephen had track position and got him.
Yeah, smart driving though, just to let him get through. At the end of that, it could have all ended in tears with both cars getting damaged. So Marcus Ambrose, he had a very strong debut in the championship at Phillip Island 2 weeks ago. Came away from that round 5th in the points. If he continues where he is now, he's going to pick up another 275 points for the weekend. And that's nothing to sneeze at, continuing. He's coming back from major adversity. He got turned around in a collision with Todd Kelly in the opening laps of yesterday's race. Didn't get any points yesterday. Now he's staring down the barrel of close to 300. That'd be a very good result.
Stephen Johnson pushing very hard and motocrossing the car across the curbing at the chicane. He was into it then. 10 laps to run, nearing the end of 500 grueling kilometres of motor racing. Cars are tired, crews are tired, strategists are worn out. Feet and hands are blistered. By this stage of the game, you've absolutely had enough.
I thought you were going to say tyres are tired.
Everything's had it. We've had it. Let's have a look from above these cars. We'll show you some graphic pictures of just what this street circuit looks like from the chopper. It's terrific stuff. Run down towards turn 9. It's where all the trouble's been, where we saw Scaife Loop before and Canto in the wall, among others.
When they redo it, they're going to rename it Crompton Corner.
I just think it ought to be improved for everybody's benefit.
Steve Johnson's made a good job of this weekend, hasn't he?
He has done a very good job, and considering the difficulties that he had last season where things just didn't bounce his way, he's gathering points, had a podium finish yesterday. That's always good news.
I think Todd Kelly, too, has done an outstanding job.
Yeah,
very mature drive. He's only 21 years of age, remember? A young kid from Mildura.
You're watching Todd Kelly, car number 15 in 5th position, and the pressure's off a little bit because just a moment ago, Marcus Ambrose had a moment and lost ground. He was pressuring Kelly for that position. Here it is. Marcus comes in a bit too hot. And he actually shot past Todd, as you can see, but then overcooked it. Regained control just in time to peel it off the wall. But Todd lives to fight another day. So does Marcus, but his heart rate just about doubled on that occasion, and he is now back and trying to settle it down and get back into a rhythm. Jason Bright, 3.7 seconds. Russell Ingall has pulled a little bit of time off him in the last lap. It could be traffic that's done that, because Jason's been running pretty well. Russell pulled a second off him a couple of laps ago, but Jason won it back, and that battle continues. Glenn Seaton in 3rd, then Stephen Johnson and Todd Kelly and Marcus Ambrose. Mark Scaife, championship leader, 9th position. Whatever he takes out of this race today will be added to the 9-point lead over rival Craig Lowndes, who's out of the running.
We're just about at the end of 2 grueling days of motorsport now. Kevin Ivins, you work with Craig Lowndes in terms of fitness. Describe to us what these drivers' bodies are now going through at this stage of the weekend.
At this point in time in the race, it's been about 2 hours into it, and they'd be experiencing signs of fatigue, muscle fatigue. They'd be starting to get blisters in areas whereby just constant repetitive gear changing and stresses are placed upon the body from the G-forces. It's a long, hard time.
Obviously, concentration is very low at the moment, but carbon monoxide poisoning is also a problem. What are the telltale signs for you?
Well, because of the track, the way this is, the ventilation's not too much strong. It's not very well, and when I'm looking for things like headaches, drivers may feel as though they want to be sick, or just signs of confusion where their judgment is a little bit impaired. So when things like that happen, we start to get a little bit worried.
We're not far from the flag, so thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Trouble for Dougal McDougall. Something weird going on with the front right there as he wobbles off at turn 7. Made contact with someone or something. 5 laps to go. Yeah, it does not look good. Little wheel alignment required for that one. Jason Bright is the leader, 3.9 seconds that margin now. There's the gap back to Russell Ingall. Can the enforcer do anything about the margin? Bright's been responding. The pressure's on. It's down to a sprint to the end. It means that Russell's got to take something like 3/4 of a second a lap. Look at this battle, though, between Stephen Johnson and Glenn Seaton. Seaton defending on the inside. Boy, Glenn's had a busy day.
This is the battle for third. Stephen Johnson's been going gangbusters, picking them off one by one. He's now up with Seaton. 2 Fords very evenly matched in the dying stages of this race. Stephen Johnson wants to get onto that podium. So they're going to go fight right down to the wire. Glenn Seaton in the FTR Falcon. Junior Johnson, boy, he's been working hard on his fitness, and it's showing here. He's really pumped up.
And it looks like there's actually a little bit of door damage in the left door of Glenn's car. It's only light, I think, but it might have been something that happened earlier. But the pressure really on here. Stephen makes a big move under brakes. Glenn's got him covered. He then crisscrosses. Glenn ran a diagonal line to the corner, which is difficult to pass because you're not quite sure where he's going to end up. It's a good manoeuvre.
He's really used his head this weekend, Stephen Johnson, but he's managed to stay out of most of the carnage. He got a big hit in the door yesterday, but the rest of the time he's had a pretty clean race, and it's very, very tough picking your way through the traffic here. Anyone who can survive that in a strong position has done a very, very good job.
Remember, at the top of the show, we talked about what is and is not acceptable in terms of defence. At the start of the race director doesn't want to see defensive lines. At the end of the race, it's every man for himself.
And Seaton and Stephen Johnson are aware of that. Great shot from above the centre chicane as these two battle up Wakefield Road. Everything's tired now. Everything's on its last leg. The drivers, the cars, they're really battling for survival. Stephen Johnson, though, still got a few puffs left in him, and he's really pushing Seaton hard here.
Yeah, they're in the 1:28s, these two, and I think Stephen Johnson's got a little bit more pace at hand if he can actually squeeze by, but that's going to be very difficult.
We saw something pretty ugly there a few laps ago, that part of the track.
And remember, yesterday, Glenn Seaton and Jason Bright, who now leads this race, were involved in an almost identical battle at about this stage of the race, and it ended up with contact made and Seaton up against the wall. And one thing Glenn doesn't want to do today is lose the opportunity to bag points and maybe walk away with a podium. Now Johnson has another lunge. Gets right into the...
You can see him using all the track as he came through GMC corner. He just let it run right out wide, out toward the concrete, just reducing the radius of the turn, saving his tyres for a big attack as they got down to the hairpin. Here comes Dougal McDougall.
The white flag suggests that, oh, that's so close, that there's a slower car on the road. Be careful. He's limping back to the pits. This is an amazing battle now. This time through, it'll be 3 laps to go. Johnson, fractions behind Seaton. The battle for third, red hot. 2 Fords. Pride at stake, points at stake, a podium at stake. They're in the braking area for turn 1.
Good run for it. If he gets a good run out of this, maybe...
Glenn just holds the inside defensively. He's allowed to do that. No one locks a brake, no contact made. It's real pressure motor racing. Do you go that extra metre under brakes or don't you? You just can't afford to be over-pressured in this situation. You have to stay aggressive and fast, but relaxed enough that you don't make a mistake. Johnson up the inside. Can he get the job done? Yes!
Oh, what a brilliant. Very good move. Excellent.
Set him up. He had good drive out of that turn. Punch through on the inside. Seaton, no defence. He drops back. There's a lot of pride on stake here. The arrival of Gibson Motorsport running a Ford. It's really rattled a lot of these existing Ford teams. Now here's the chance for one of these teams to be the top performing Ford on the day.
Ingall's 3.5 seconds behind Bright. He's pulled a bit back again.
So the order, Jason Bright, 3.5 seconds in front of Ingall. Glenn Seaton was in third. He's just been taken by Stephen Johnson. Seaton in fourth. Todd Kelly in fifth. Marcus Ambrose is still in sixth. Stephen Richards, Larry Perkins, Mark Scaife in ninth, and Greg Murphy rounding out the 10.
Just had word through, Mark, that today's crowd here in Adelaide, 64,900, and a record attendance for the 3 days, 166,800 people for the Clipsal 500. Fantastic.
Why they've re-signed for so many years. This is a phenomenal event.
The gap, oh sorry, Ron.
You're right.
The gap between Bright and Ingall now down to 2.7. 2 laps to go.
Scaife
there it is.
And Murphy. It's still on between these two. And there's a tremendous amount of competition between these two TWR Australia run teams. Holden Racing Team and Kmart Racing. Cars are prepared within a stone's throw of each other at the big industrial park in Clayton in Victoria.
I'm down here with Melanie. Now, you're Jason Bright's fiance, Melanie. Is this the part of the race that you hate or love? You're not quite there yet, but you're so close.
I absolutely hate it. Yeah, I think there's about a lap to go, so we'll wait and see.
Well, how do you think Jason will be feeling right now? I know he was very tired after yesterday. Didn't really want to come back and do it all again.
No, he would have been happy if someone else could get in the car for him, I think. But yeah, it's all good so far.
Now, being a physio, you helped him out last night?
Yeah, had a bit of work last night and today, so hopefully that's helped.
Okay, well, I know you're nervous. We'll let you go watch the last couple of laps. Best of luck.
Okay, thanks very much.
The nerves are bad down at the Holden Racing Team. They're pretty tight up here at the Castrol Racing Team. Julia Ingle, how are you feeling?
Yeah, pretty happy. The boys have done a great job. Everything's gone pretty well, so hopefully, I just don't want to say anything because I'm scared to jinx him, but with a lap to go, hopefully second's okay.
Now tell us, what about the Think coffee machine? We've been watching the sign.
Yeah, I know. We're desperate for this coffee machine. He has to win the race to get the coffee machine, so maybe next time.
We'll leave that to Barry to explain.
What is the coffee machine story, Baz?
Coffee machine story is Julia was moaning because Russell won't buy her a coffee machine. So I said, well, okay, when he finally wins a race again, I'll buy one for you.
Oh, so you're the man in the back.
You're the sponsor. Half a lap to go.
This is a very important moment psychologically for Jason Bright, coming in to fill the big shoes of Craig Lowndes at Holden Racing Team. It was very important to him early in the season that he did put a stamp. Oh, there's the sign there. That's Russell's inspiration. That's where he looks at the dashboard all through the race. But I was going to say, very important for Jason Bright to put a stamp, I guess, on his own territory at HRT, and he's really going to do it today.
Only 2 corners remaining now for Jason Bright before he takes out this second leg of the Clipsal 500. Another torrid day with safety car interventions, controversy, damage. Ingle pushes all the way to the flag. The limping Mark Larkham in front. It's going to be a small margin when they finally get there. Bright lines up for the final run to the checker. A little bit of oversteer on exit. And Jason Bright wins for the Holden Racing Team. The margin 1.2 seconds back to Russell Ingle.
And can you believe that, Neil? That's the 3rd time Holden Racing Team has won on the streets of Adelaide with 3 different drivers. Do these blokes know what they're doing or what?
Well, it shows it ain't luck, doesn't it?
Just incredible. And that's a great effort from Stephen Johnson. It's outstanding drive over 2 very tough days.
Look how close those guys were at the end of a couple of hours of racing. Johnson, Seaton, Kelly, Ambrose, and then even Richards there, really separated by tiny margins considering all the things that have to transpire through the afternoon.
Well, they talk about endurance, and this race is the toughest in the country. The toughest any V8 supercar driver will come across, and I reckon on a global scale, the toughest you'll find anywhere. Jason Bright, what an outstanding drive. Kept his head. They brought him in early, made his 2 stops. The field came back to him, and he put in a masterful performance to bring this car home a winner.
And Scaife incidentally made it home in front of Murphy. Scaife coming home in 9th, Murphy 10th on board there with Mark. We're still lapping in the closing stages of in the high 27, so despite the ugly looking damage, it didn't knock the car's performance around too much.
Russell Ingle, he's back in the game. He's going to pick up 464 points this weekend, and that'll put a big smile on his face. He had a shocker last year. Now he's right back in the battle for the Shell Championship Series as a result of a strong performance at Adelaide.
Massive amount of points to lose for Lownsley.
Oh, yeah, that's very costly. Yeah, it's going to be a frustrating afternoon for him. Let's have a look at the Shell Helix race score and confirm the race results for the Clipsal 500. Jason Bright, Russell Ingle, Stephen Johnson, Glenn Seaton, Todd Kelly, Marcus Ambrose, Stephen Richards, Larry Perkins, then Mark Scaife, Greg Murphy, Tony Longhurst, John Faulkner, Trevor Ashby. These guys are a lap down. Bargwana, Mazira, and then Jason Richards from New Zealand. Mecklem, Tratt.
And to present the 3rd place trophy, I'd like to introduce Roger Cook, the chairman of the South Australian Motorsport Board. Put your hands together. It's the junior, and boy, he's coming on strong, Steve Johnson. I'm going to display some champagne in a moment or two. Right now, I'd like to call on the Honourable Joan Hall, MP, Minister for Tourism, to make the award to the 2nd place man here today. I know you're going to give him a big hometown welcome. How about this? Russell Ingle! raised in Adelaide and happy to be back. Right now I'd like to call on Rob Gerard, Managing Director of Gerard Industries, to present the Laurel Wreath, and the Perpetual Trophy will be awarded by the Honourable John Olsen, the Premier of South Australia. As I welcome onto the stage, give him a big welcome, Jason Bright. Congratulations from the Premier. We'll get Jason over in just a moment for a word or two. How about that, folks? What an outstanding effort. Holden Racing Team has won this race 3 times in a row, 3 years in a row, all with 3 different drivers. Jason Bright, you're the 3rd one to join that illustrious group. Boy, Holden Racing Team, don't they know how to operate around here?
Mate, that car was just awesome today. The Holden was just turning laps like you wouldn't believe. And these Holden Racing Team guys, mate, they don't want to do it from the front. They want to do it from the rear.
Now tell me, that was a very tough event. You had to fight your way through, Was there any time in that race where you thought, gee, I'm going to grab this one? Was there a real turning point in the race?
It was that second pit stop, mate.
Yeah.
They called me in at the kink there before the pits, and I made every effort to get in there over the curve and everything, and we got in there, and when I went out, they said, mate, you're the only guy that's made 2 stops, and I thought, yeah, we're in with a shot with this one, baby.
Now tell me, the last time you drove in this race was 2 years ago. You were almost passing out in the podium here, but you look a lot more comfortable this time around.
Mate, it's much easier when you're winning, I tell you.
How about that, folks? Give him a big cheer. The winner of the Clipsal 500 for 2001, Jason Bright. Let the champagne fly.
Now, here's the championship points, and this tells you why the performance of England Johnson was so critical. Bright leapfrogs his teammate Mark Scaife. This is where Neil pointed out earlier, you have to perform on the big days, and it's proven in the points there. Ingle and Johnson now 3rd and 4th, but how close are they? 8 points between 2nd and 3rd.